the Premier League have lost their case against Leicester. Now, that's only the first of a few cases here, but let's go through this article of Leicester City winning their court case, how it pertains to Manchester City, because there is a lot of interest in that as well, and what it exactly means. So we will go through this article. I've read this once already, but we'll go through it again together. So, Leicester City are boys. Why do they always use such zesty language? To avoid a points deduction this season after winning their legal dispute. So this is about PSR with the Premier League. Now, why did Leicester win their dispute? Well, if you scroll down a bit further in this case, you can see that Leicester argued, since they are not part of the Premier League in one season where they did go over the legal limits within the Premier League, that they are not subjected to the rules, since they did not agree with the rules that they would have otherwise agreed with if they were in the Premier League. This is pretty much a lot of legal trying to get out of it business, but to put it as simply as possible, right? What Leicester says is, when every Premier League season, Premier League clubs agree to the rules of the Premier League. However, since Leicester was relegated in 2023, they did not agree to the Premier League rules in 2024. When they agreed to the same rules, because the rules did not change, now in the start date of a 2024 season, 24-25 season, that they only should be looked upon to fulfill the Premier League rules within the period where they have agreed. That was basically the argument. So, they actually managed to win, which I did not expect them to do. I thought, like legally it makes sense, but you're gonna need some pretty good lawyers to win this case. And you're gonna need to bank on the Premier League not having the best of lawyers, because I would expect the Premier League to win this. Considering that the rules expect you to agree to a 3-year term limit within your books and all of that, but I am actually very surprised here to see that Leicester won, and I am really interested to see the actual court document, if it will ever be publicly published, about how they won this, because, yeah, I'm not paying, mate. I'm not paying. This is pretty big. This pretty much argues that PSR, the Premier League rules of PSR, because of course they do exist in lower leagues as well, but they are different. It pretty much argues that PSR, as it is understood in the Premier League, only counts once you've joined the Premier League. In other words, once you've joined the Premier League, you have 3 years to get your books straight before you can get points deductions. This is something that Nottingham Forest may start to argue as well, although I do believe they have been up for longer than 3 years now. I'll have to check that. When did Nottingham Forest get promoted? It was quite a time ago, I believe, but this is something that Nottingham Forest and maybe Aston Villa could all argue. Now, Aston Villa has been promoted for quite a while again as well, but that is not really the point. The point is, these are clubs that got promoted, could argue, we should be given more time to fix our books, because look at this, we weren't given the same chance. Now, whether that will actually go in court and win, I highly doubt it. But what I doubt less is that one of those clubs will go to the Premier League and say, this is unfair, this is stupid, the rules don't work, we should be allowed to spend money, you need to help us somehow, you need to give us something in return. And maybe they can, all these clubs can come together, complain to the Premier League. Of course, you need 14 clubs to change the rules in the Premier League. So will they get that? I doubt it. I very much so doubt it. As again, it pertains to a small amount of clubs here. We're talking maybe 6 clubs, and I'm counting Manchester City in that, who would want to see the rules changed. So that is nowhere near the 14 needed. But this does start to draw something up in the Premier League. Why can Leicester come in, violating PSR, get away with it because, oh, you weren't in the Premier League. But when we first came up into the Premier League, we had to worry about not violating PSR. clearly it's unfair. So you're probably going to see, well, I won't say probably, but you're potentially going to see a lot of arguments around that as well. Now, if you're a Man City fan and you stuck along to this far, how does this pertain to the case between Man City and the Premier League? Well, let me use an analogy here, and as all analogies, they aren't perfect, but stick with me. Let's say I committed a robbery over here in, I don't know, over here down the street. You are also arrested for committing a robbery. Maybe down in Antwerp, all the way down in Antwerp. Completely separate, right, from each other. It's the same crime, but you are held for the same thing. Now, you are found not guilty of robbery. Does that mean that I am also not guilty of being a thief? No, it doesn't, right? Because we might have been brought in for the same crime. We were not brought in for the exact same crime scene. In other words, we were brought in on the same charges, but you were being accused of committing a robbery in fuck all anywhere in Antwerp. I was being accused of something completely different. And I still might be the one who actually committed that robbery. So again, not a perfect analogy, but just because somebody is innocent of robbery doesn't mean that no one has ever committed robbery, right? Theft exists, whether some people have been incorrectly charged and found guilty of it or not. I mean, it seems like a simple concept. I don't quite understand why people continue to link these cases like Everton, Nottingham Forest, and now Leicester to Manchester City. They are all completely different. Maybe Everton had a fingerprint on the crime scene, and I don't leave my fingerprints on the crime scene, so they can easily prove that Everton did it. They can't really prove that I did it because there's no fingerprints, there's no HIV camera or whatever they have out there. HTV, not HIV. HIV is something very different. But that's the point, yeah? These are two completely different things. Not all robberies are the same. Not all violations of the PSR rules are the same. This means nothing to Manchester City's case. Whether Man City win, lose, or reach an agreement with the Premier League, this is completely separate from Leicester City's case. So with that said, thank you for watching to the end. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Helps the channel out a ton. This international break is always dead. You know what's funny about my channel? Whenever we go into international break, you can you have viewership charts, right, that you have in YouTube Analytics. Whenever you have international break, those views go up, and then international break is over, and those views go way back up again. I hate international break, I actually do. But yeah, do like and subscribe to get me through these troubling times that is called boring ass football during international break. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.